I was having a Joe Rogan experience the other night. It's an interesting story, though, you have to admit.
No, like, it was racist because they literally thought that he wound up there the way that he wound up there. They didn't know about the Tuskegee Airmen. They thought that he stole an airplane, that this black guy stole an airplane and crashed it in East Kentucky. Just a thing that was happening.
That's what racism will do to your brain. Instead of thinking, maybe this man's a qualified pilot, their first thought was, no, this man definitely stole an airplane.
Right. Yeah, like a
very dangerous theft.
A thing that happened constantly in the 1940s. Like black men stealing airplanes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me read you the story. On March 25th, 1948, Stewart took part in a simulated armed reconnaissance with a formation of Tuskegee Airmen combat fighter pilots flying from Greenville, South Carolina's Shaw Air Force Base to their home base in Columbus, Ohio. Suddenly, Stewart's P-47 Thunderbolt began to experience severe engine failure, sputtering at 20,000 feet above the mountainous terrain of eastern Kentucky during a bad thunderstorm. Fearful of crashing his aircraft into the side of a mountain to his death, Stewart reduced his aircraft's altitude to 10,000 feet, bailing out of the plane. Since the P-47 lacked an ejection seat, Stewart slid its canopy back, removed his seatbelt, and directed the P-47's nose forward so that it would dip and safely eject Stewart forward when he released the control stick. Damn! That's fucking crazy. That's how good of a pilot he was, dude. He just was able to just nudge the plane forward and basically just tip him out like he was pouring a cup of tea. Harry Stewart was a badass pilot, dude. Like, Han Solo doesn't have shit on Harry Stewart. However, the slipstream struck Stewart, forcefully propelling him to the aircraft's tail. Holy shit! Dude, he was like hanging off the back of this fucking plane, fracturing his left leg in two between the calf and ankle. He was like hanging off the back of he got caught in the slipstream and was like,
what the fuck?
Yeah. After opening his parachute in the clouds, Stewart coasted to ground, landing on top of a dead pine tree. With Stewart's parachute firmly hooked over the treetop, his body dangled 2 feet above the ground through the tree's dead branches. Possibly going into shock, Stewart noticed that he had lost a shoe on his broken, bleeding left leg. His otherwise white sock was now completely blood-soaked. Stewart cut himself down in the pouring rain, crawled under a rock overhang, and removed his white silk flying scarf, making a tourniquet to stop the bleeding. Dude, this is fucking crazy.
Dude, that's insane.
Unbeknownst to him, Stewart had parachuted into the mountainous forest hills of Butcher Hollow, Kentucky, a coal mining community in Johnson County, Kentucky, and childhood home of married 15-year-old Loretta Webb, best known as 18-time Grammy Award-nominated country music Loretta Lynn. Though Loretta's location at the time of the crash is undocumented, Loretta's younger brother, Herman Webb, was riding in the pickup truck bed belonging to Loretta and Herman's father, Melvin Theodore Ted Webb.
So she would not, at this point, she would not have been. When did Loretta really ascend? Like in the 50s?
Yeah. 60s. So, yeah, 50s, 60s, yeah.
I mean, like, but she first, like, was Loretta Lynn, like, in the 50s, right? Like, early Decca era, kind of. Yeah.
She was 15 at the time this happened.
So this is in the 40s, you said, right?
Yeah, 1948.
Okay.
Herman heard a massive explosion unlike anything his family had ever experienced, despite living in a coal camp accustomed to loud blasts. After Stewart belled, the P-47 flew across the Webb family cemetery, crashed into a hilltop overlooking the Webb family home, and created a 10 to 15 foot deep crater. Over the course of several days, local boys and men began to ransack the crash site. One eyewitness saw Loretta's 22-year-old moonshiner husband, Oliver Lynn, Doolittle Lynn, who was, wasn't he played by Tommy Lee Jones in the movie? Driving his Jeep with Stewart's plane propeller attached to its side. That's some hillbilly shit, man. Just like, I might could use this plane propeller. Fuck it, I'll just take it.
Hey, you ain't gonna need this. Ain't gonna miss this.
One of Loretta and Herman's uncles converted the P-47 stainless steel nuts into finger rings.
That is some hillbilly shit, too.
Just like, look at my bling, dog.
Yeah, just like hillbilly Liberace with these fucking...
One of Loretta and Herman's 9-year-old neighbor, Callie Daniels, now octogenarian and retired elementary school cook, Callie Daniels Johnson of Hager Hill, saw Stewart's white parachute converging to Earth, mistaking it for a large white eagle. Callie notified her father, Leif Daniels, who hopped on and rode one of his horses into the hills, finding an injured Stewart lying underneath a rock cliff. This is fucking crazy. After a mutually befuddled, though benign stare down, just look.
Hey, we want to be clear. This was a benign stare down.
We want to be clear.
Yeah, this was not, there was no racial animus or anything like that or it being scared. It's just the order of things.
Leif put the injured Stewart on his second horse Leif had brought along, taking Stewart to the Daniels family home where Leif's wife, Mary Daniels, was washing clothes in a large backyard cauldron. I mean, if you're a racist guy from East Kentucky and like a black man parachutes into your community from a burning plane, I mean, I guess I could see the legends that could be spun out from that. Like,
right.
Mary tore up some bed sheets and disinfected and bandaged Stewart's legs. After giving Stewart all-purpose moonshine for pain relief, much to Stewart's chagrin.
Medicinal, strictly medicinal.
It says, much to Stewart's chagrin, he had sworn off liquor for Lent. Leif reloaded Stewart on the horse and took him onto a mud and gravel road.
Both figuratively and literally.
Took him onto a mud and gravel road towards a local store on the main road. From there, Stewart was loaded into a pickup truck and transported to the local Paintsville Clinic in Paintsville, Kentucky, birth home of then unborn Brenda Gale Webb, best known as Crystal Gale. All right, like, I mean, you have to throw that in there. Like, that's just like, come on. I think they're trying to convey that, like, this guy parachuted into like country music hall of fame, basically.
Right.
The clinic's physician and his team washed Stewart, placed him in a bed, and administered morphine for pain relief. Stewart recalled being in a hallucinated state as a result of the morphine and moonshine. Dude, that is fucking. Again, imagine you're a black man and you parachute into East Kentucky, and these like guys, they use your plane for bling. They give you moonshine.
I wouldn't even know what I would think. Also, moonshine, I've had, this is going to sound absolutely stupid, and it's not the case, but I've drank so much moonshine before I feel like I drank myself sober. Not because I was actually sober, but just because like the effects of it made me feel like I could operate heavy machinery all of a sudden. You know what I mean?
Like you could fly an airplane from Greenville, South Carolina to Columbus, Ohio.
Right.
As news of the P-47 crash circulated, local people lined up to the clinic to view the injured African-American combat fighter pilot. The town's mayor, Escom Chandler, visited Stewart, followed by the town's police chief, county sheriff, and a Paintsville Herald news reporter who ran a story on March 25th, 1948. The article omitted Stewart's race. Interesting. Around 1 a.m. on March 26th, a U.S. Air Force representative from Columbus, Ohio, arrived at the Paintsville Clinic to pick up Stewart. Okay, how many days is that? That's March 26th, and his plane crashed on, March 25th. All right. I think they're using some kind of pressure washer downstairs now. Perhaps you can hear that.
Still no from me. They
departed the small rural clinic or rural community without any fanfare or formal send-off from the community. Stewart's wife, Define, did not find out about her husband's mountainous aircraft crash until Stewart arrived home. For many years afterwards, local legend, though patently false, held that U.S. Air Force Republic F-84 Thunderjets shot down a B-52 bomber stolen by an African-American man conducting a bombing run on the town.
Wait, so what?
It was even crazier. They said he was bombing the town.
Holy shit. And they said that they shot him down?
Yeah. The local legend was that the U.S. Air Force shot down a B-52 bomber stolen by an African-American man conducting a bombing run on the town. Like the idea that he would be strafing...
Like the Tuskegee Airmen were actually a terrorist cell.
In 2005, Danny Keith Blevins, a Johnson County, Kentucky teacher and president of the Van Leer Historical Society, tracked down Stewart at his home in southern Michigan. Stewart was bemused when Blevins shared the stolen B-52 rural legend. Stewart knew that the B-52s didn't even exist in 1948.
Like the Air Force?
Yeah.
B-52s?
Yeah. No, the song, the band. He was talking about. He's like,
yeah.
That's
the
crazy.
Georgia band. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. That's crazy, man. Rock Lobster, that wouldn't even come out until much later on.
In 2006, the Van Leer, Kentucky Township, encompassing Butcher Hollow, named Stewart its parade marshal for the annual Homecoming Day parade. That's nice. That's pretty sweet. During his Kentucky visit, Stewart met the family of Crystal Gale, Loretta Lynn, and Herman Webb, enjoying a tour of Loretta's birth home. Wow. Damn. Dude, he was a G. He was apparently like a really good like dog fighter.
Well, goddamn, man. Could you imagine dangling off the back of one of those fucking openings from that era?
Yeah, dude, he is still alive. He's 98. This motherfucker dangled from a plane over Butcher and he's still alive. He's fucking 98. That is insane. I want to have him on the show.
Yeah, let's hear your version of events.
Let's hear your version of events.